Okay, Nick, this is Brantley from Atlet, just taking a look at the most recent video we have of you, man. This is, obviously an older video of you, but from this and some photos of what we've seen of you, you're gonna be able to get the gist of some mechanical things we're going to be looking at to ease the tension on your rotator cuff. And I'm going to kind of point out some things that are causing that to be too stressful when you're coming through. So um, right now, we're working with the front view only. And ideally we want the front, side, and back views so we can get a full picture of everything. But I've seen some photos of you from the side. I've watched a few things kind of in addition to this video to get a sense of where your arm is and why you may be having some rotator cuff issues. So the first thing we're going to see here is right out of the gate. So you're a high velocity guy, so you're going to understand that, in order to throw fast, you have to move fast with the lower body. You also have to be loose with the upper body. The upper body needs to be able to fly around like a whip, basically, right? And so there's a reason for that. There's two reasons for that. We want our upper body to be loose so that it can move around fast, because the tense upper body doesn't move fast, right? Same concept as when you're running or being plyometric in any other sport. In addition to that, we want to be loose because we're trying to basically have zero tension because our arm is moving at such a high rate and because it's moving overhand. So the joules of energy that you have going through your arm when you're releasing a baseball are so high that it puts so much stress. It's basically like holding a 40-pound weight on your fingertips and allowing your elbow to take that load and your rotator cuffs to take that load. If you can just imagine like holding that weight tied to a string back on your fingertips and then tilting your arm back, that's basically what happens when we release a baseball. So anytime we are having discomfort or too much stress, we're looking for things in the upper body that will cause that stress. Similarly to weightlifting, are we going past our normal range of motion with something, or are we not in the right position at the right time to deliver the ball effortlessly? And that's going to be the case here with you. So right out of the gate, you're going to start, with your hands high. You like to start hands up, and you kind of start with your elbows sort of flared out a little bit. This right here, to me, we try to avoid this. Hands low, hands high. That's a style preference. But when we do those, we're looking for relaxed posture. And in your case, because your hands are above your shoulder, you're going to see that it's basically causing you to not be in a relaxed posture as you're getting ready to go. This doesn't look like a relaxed guy, right? One thing I'm also going to fix is the open stance here. We want to set ourselves up to be closed and athletic, simplify things so that we can repeat the motion. This is a wasted movement here for you with your hands or with your feet open. Sometimes you'll see guys go feet closed. Really, the only point for us when we lift our leg is to go down the mound in a straight line as fast as we can and allow for late hip rotation. And so this is just kind of a wasted movement here for you. I don't know if this is just a comfort thing or what, but we may try to eliminate that for you down the road just to keep you efficient with your lower body. So now as you go, you're going to see that we're going to lift, and from the side view I expect to see kind of a little bit of an early weight shift. So when you are lifting, you want to picture this as weight shift and hitting. We got to go back before we go forward, right? And when we're going back, i.e. when we're lifting our front leg, we're trying to stay tall during that process because that's our highest potential energy at the top of the mound, right? That's when we have our most energy to bring down the mound. And we don't want to start our drive or our weight shift too early, right? You don't pause in lifting your leg, so you don't just go up, down, and out. But if you see your posture starting to crunch like this, where the lower body's starting to bend down and we're starting to kind of bend with our upper body a little bit prematurely before the leg has actually gotten all the way to its peak, you're going to see yourself kind of crunch down there as it's getting to peak. That just shows that we're kind of leaking a little bit early. All right, that's a minor thing, but I think it's going to help you down the road with what I'm going to point out with the positioning of your arm. So it's worth noting that as you're doing this, you're also keeping your hands up high. The reason that we don't want to do that high hand start is because of what you're seeing right here, the high hand break. All right, guys that start low and guys that start high, they finish in the same spot. And that's basically a low hand brake, a late and low hand brake. Most high velocity and long-term pitchers have that commonality. And the reason is that it maintains a fast arm It allows the arm to not be up too early into maximum external rotation, and it maintains a loose arm. Okay? So what you're going to see here is that you're braking high because you set your hands too high. So that's a tense motion, and it's going to set you up for the next thing I'm going to show you down the road here, which is that you go past your normal range of motion when you swing your arms. So, as we go down the mound here, we want to see some things with the back arm. And one of those things is we want it to be behind our head, and we want it to get up to 90 degrees, right? So when it's behind our head at landing and it's up at 90 degrees and our hips are starting to rotate, that shoulder-hip separation that we have is the thing that creates rotational force that makes us throw fast, right? 80% of our velocity is going to come from how quickly we rotate and how efficiently we rotate. 20% is going to be our linear movement or how fast we drive down the mound. Right here, you're in a good spot in terms of hip-shoulder separation, but you're going to see something here. This arm is actually very far back behind your head here. And from the side view, from photos I've seen of you, it's actually not at a 90-degree angle, so I'm just going to draw out to the side to kind of show you. We want this arm to be at about 90 degrees or slightly inside of 90 degrees, and yours is going to be, I can't draw right here, yours is actually about like right here. It's an obtuse angle, okay? Then it starts to come through. And so this is extra stress that's going to be put on the rotator cuff. If we're outside of that 90-degree angle, it means that to accelerate our arm, basically we have some tension along our elbow, bicep, and rotator cuff. So everything, if you can picture this as your rotator cuff joint right here, this red circle, everything with acceleration with that long arm is going to be the rotator cuff doing all the work. So that's one of the issues that we're looking at here for you. I think it's going to feel a lot easier for you to throw when we don't allow you to get so far back behind your head like this. And I think that when we move your hands down and we allow you to break lower and we allow you to relax, and you're basically not going to rip back our scapular load so far back behind your body, you're going to be able to throw with the same velocity without it feeling like you're just basically tensing up or ripping your back shoulder blade back, okay? So it's going to feel a lot easier for you to just whip this arm around. Now, here's another thing you're going to see here as a result of this. Because you're so far back here, because this is an obtuse angle coming around, you're going to brace, rotate, and that foot's going to be off the ground. So right here, this is a sign of inefficiency that we look for in pitchers. It can be done. There are guys that bring their toe off the ground too early. But ideally, we want to drag. That back foot right there, it needs to be dragging a couple of inches into ball release and then coming off the ground. So that just shows that we've done something inefficient with our lower body, which is probably that early weight shift that I talked to you about at the beginning of the motion. All right? Now, in addition to that, you're going to come through here, and you're going to look like you've gotten kind of cut off. See how this leg's going to get kind of stuck behind you? You're going to kind of recoil like that and just stand straight up. Now, you probably don't do that on every pitch, but on the next pitch, when you threw off speed, you still had that kind of recoil right there, which lets us know that, again, we didn't get to rotate all the way through that pitch. And that recoil is going to be extra stress on your decelerator muscles that shouldn't be there. So this goes back to that exact thing I'm talking about. Beginning of your motion, too high, too tense. You break too high because you're set too high. Because you break too high, you're going to rip too far back behind you, meaning you're going to go past your normal range of motion. You're going to put undue stress on the front side of your rotator cuff to get into maximum external rotation. And because you leaked your weight early in the beginning of the motion, your back foot's going to come off the ground prematurely. Because you did that and you didn't rotate efficiently, you're going to get stuck. Those are all things that make it feel more stressful to throw with that high velocity that you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to relax all this, and you're going to be able to repeat this without it feeling like you're even trying. So 94, 95 should be basically without much effort for you. And that's kind of what we're going to work on, man. Thanks.